Welcome to the Dermastore Podcast.
A chat about all things skincare, skin health.
And if you're a real skin nerd, we hope you'll join the conversation. Welcome to the 18th episode of the Dermastore Podcast. Hey Lara, how are you doing?
How's it, Greg? I'm fine, and you?
Been a while?
Feel a bit rusty, hey?
I know. Feeling like spring finally. Long may it last. And we are gearing up for the balance of the year, which is coming in like a steam train. Been a very busy winter. Always say, Cape Townians seem to hibernate in winter, and it feels like it's been very busy. It's been a busy time.
I said to someone the other day, I feel like I've been an ostrich.
Yeah.
Just head in the ground, but not doing nothing.
Just working. Today we're going to chat about active aging in your 30s. I think one of the things we tend to overlook at Dermastore, well, not overlook, we maybe take for granted, is that not everyone is using skincare that we're using or that our customers are using. And we often talk to people and, ask them what products they're using, and they're not entirely clued up on, what a retinoid is or a sunscreen or an alpha hydroxy acids. But there's definitely a point in life where you reach an age and you wake up one morning and you see that first wrinkle and you go, I need to start doing something about my skin. And I've also been chatting to a lot of men lately who are super interested in skincare, and that's definitely a shift in the last few years. Guys coming to me and asking me advice on their skincare routines. I'm like, hang on, this has not been a thing before. Is it just because there's more awareness around skincare, or is it just an age thing? And I think it's a combination of those things, but I think you need to remember that you can't just jump in with both feet with active ingredient skincare. You need to take it with little baby steps and just introduce things at a pace that's comfortable for your own skin. So joining us in the podcast studio today is also Dr. Webster. How are you, Dr. Webster?
No, I'm well, thank you.
Before we jump into the nitty-gritty of the podcast, Lara, what did you use this morning?
I'm very chuffed with my routine this morning.
Are you?
Yeah. I felt like I was skin sponding because I felt like I needed a bit of exfoliation. So I used the ZO complexion renewing pads.
Okay.
The gentle exfoliating pads. And then, because you had reminded me of the serum, I used the Martyderm Chrono Age serum.
Oh, loving that.
It was really, really nice. And then I've topped that off with actually one of our new launches, the Martyderm Rosa Repair SPF 30. And I think I found my new sunscreen.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh, it's so lovely. Really, really nice. Because I'm at the point of aging where I'm starting to see I'm getting my mum's skin with the fine little broken capillaries. So that fine, fair English skin with a little bit of redness starting to come through. So I'm going to start.
Do you find it's aggravated by certain things?
Definitely. I think my lifestyle, I love being outdoors and running, hot, spicy foods. So it's definitely all those things we educate people on avoiding. Yeah. But I am aware of it now, so I'm going to really start working on it. Yeah. What did you use?
I used Posh Wash this morning, which is a new launch from Butte. It's been really well received. For those who don't know, it's a cleanser for dry and sensitive skin. It's non-fragranced. It's just beautifully balanced. It doesn't strip your skin. Formulated with oat kernel extract, wheat protein, especially for winter. It's a great product. So I used that this morning. And then I used a product I've sort of circled back to recently, just sort of preventatively going into summer, is the Bargy FXC serum with 4% arbutin and 10% vitamin C. I'm loving that product. Okay. It's really great. I just see good results from it, and obviously just using an antioxidant every morning is just something my skin responds well to. And then I've been using a new tester that we're trying out from the States from a brand. It's a very lightweight cream. They call it a natural moisturizing factor cream. It's just very light and nice.
And very neutral.
Very neutral. And then over that, my staple sunscreen, Martyderm. Yeah, I mean, I don't even have to say that anymore.
I think you should get that tattooed somewhere, Greg.
And very excitingly, we will be launching the Martyderm Active D body lotion next week. Super excited about that going into summer, and their bronzing SPF 30 spray as well, which is stunning. You also see some changes to the Martyderm Active D packaging, quite a big overhaul internationally. A lot of people getting confused about the current packaging and it being potentially tinted.
Okay, that was a lot of feedback we actually got at the Derm Congress recently.
Yes, so they've changed the look and feel of Active D. It's gone completely in another direction, but just to know that was the reason why it was just really consumers maybe getting confused that there was a tint in the
I love the new packaging.
Yeah.
I think it's so so beautiful, and it's perfect for a sunscreen formula. Yeah.
And then while we're on it, I just thought before we jump into our topic, some other new launches coming up. SkinCeuticals Age Interrupter Advanced launching, which is just a step-up cream or reformulation on the very well-known Age Interrupter cream for mature skin. So that's launching very soon. And then they're also launching the Phyto Mist, which we tested in Spain.
Yes, we did.
It's become known to me that our tester that we bought in Spain, the nozzle was actually slightly broken.
Oh no, so it was like almost stuck.
It was stuck. It wasn't going down the whole way. So my initial thoughts on this product was like, hang on, this is not
doesn't mist.
Yeah, it just doesn't mist. And then SkinCeuticals South Africa sent us 2 testers locally. And it's completely changed the experience of that product.
Okay.
So we are launching it very soon. It is a lovely product and it goes on beautifully. And I can especially see people, post-treatment, that sort of after a long day at the beach, or if you just want that soothing, comforting spray, it's a wonderful product.
I love that product. And I think, we just confidently know the phytocorrective range, the family of products is so efficacious that this is just the perfect addition.
We wanted to chat about some of the things that you might encounter when you're starting an active skincare journey.
This was actually a topic that was requested from one of our listeners.
Oh, thank you.
So
awesome.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, so I think just starting out, there's obviously a few things to understand and know. You want to basically get a good assessment of your skin. Don't try and self-diagnose. It's not always possible to get a good assessment, but that's why we have our skin therapists on our chat, on our support. They're helping people all day long. Send a photo. It's unbiased, uncommissioned advice. Our therapists don't earn anything out of the advice that they give. It's really just to help people. So please, if that is the only first point of call that you have, then jump on there. Should we start with ingredients? What are the kind of fundamental ingredients? Obviously, there are millions of ingredients out there. What are the sort of fundamental ingredients we should be looking at incorporating?
I think top line, there's sort of 3 that come to mind, and that would be for targeting aging is retinoids, vitamin C, and hydroxy acids as the group.
And sunscreen.
And of course, actually that's just number 1, isn't it? Yes, that's true. So those 4 types of products or ingredients are critical.
So that's almost forms that skin health and beauty pyramid approach where you've got your sort of baseline fundamentals and then you've got your cherry on top, which we won't really get too much into today because I think we want to just address the first sort of lines of defense against aging.
Yes.
And antioxidants play a huge role in that. What does an antioxidant do? It prevents free radical damage. So, Dr. Webster, why do we recommend vitamin C out of all the antioxidants? Is it just because it's the most proven one, or what is the reason?
Well, I think there are various formulations and obviously can be combined with other products like ferulic acid, like SkinCeuticals, C ferulic. And I think it's been fine-tuned. I think the formulations, I think the companies have fine-tuned the formulations to make great products.
Yeah. I think that's also some of the obstacles that a lot of people struggle with when it comes to targeting anti-aging is there are a lot of different vitamin C products on the market, and it's how we navigate through those. And I think when we look at active ingredients, the formulation is really important. And exactly like you said, it's what type of vitamin C is being used, what is the concentration of that vitamin C, pH for this particular ingredient is quite important, and stability. So vitamin C is a fundamental ingredient for anti-aging, and how it's formulated is really important.
Exactly. So I think that's all those things you mentioned. And that's why I think you've got to try and buy it from a company that's got enough research and development to make sure that the vitamin C is actually doing what it's promised to do. It's
being delivered into the skin and being utilized in
exactly.
the skin.
Because there's so many factors. Let's say the different vitamin C's, the pH, that you might have vitamin C in it, but is it actually getting into the skin?
And when it comes to other active ingredients like retinoids, for example, what is your stance on that?
So definitely, retinoids are just vitamin A products.
Okay.
So there are retinol esters, there's retinol, there's retinaldehyde, which are all the non-prescription products. And then there's obviously prescription retinoids like tretinoin. And we've got, again, a lot of choices, but I think that is one of the mainstays. It's been very well researched. And I think the non-prescription one is retinol. The whole problem with the retinoids, it's that's potentially irritating. So I think that's the beauty of the cosmeceuticals, is they are able to combine it with other ingredients to make it less irritating. It still must work, but with less irritation in the skin. I think that's the secret of the cosmeceuticals, where it's often better than the ethical products or the prescription products. I think the cosmeceuticals are more elegant with synergistic ingredients and less irritation.
Yeah, and I think actually recently launched quite a few new retinols onto Dermastore. And brands are really starting to become quite creative with the synergistic formulas. And they're adding in additional ingredients to help not only boost the effect of the anti-aging function, but it also helps mitigate some of the intolerance and irritation in the skin. So it almost is a one-stop shop type of product nowadays.
Yeah, you are seeing that. I mean, I think Albaji's just brought in the 360 retinol, which has some lovely like green tea. That's like really nice supporting ingredients. And then you've also got Mesoacidic Skin Retin 0.3, which is using Bacachul and retinol together, which I thought was really interesting.
I love that, yeah.
There are a ton of retinols out there, but as Dr. Webster sort of emphasized, you got to know you're backing into a brand that's actually done the research and development, and that product's going to get into the skin, going to be utilized. Again, I think going back to starting off from like a simplistic sort of viewpoint, you can have your basic ingredients, but some ingredients do tend to work better in synergy with others. So we've looked at Martyderm shots, for example, has done this very well. Vitamin C and licorice extract, those two work extremely well. Actually, that's in Butte Sunny Skin as well. So looking at those smart pairings where it can actually enhance the efficacy, reduce irritation, and ultimately I think what we always try and talk about at Dermastore is you want to maximize the efficacy with the fewest ingredients possible, and that is something that is very hard to achieve.
Yes.
So, Lara, what are the kind of other ingredients that work well together?
I think it's a very common question that we get asked on Dermastore is, okay, so it's exactly like you mentioned, and what helped us plan this podcast, Greg, is you wake up and you all of a sudden starting to see a few more lines on the skin, and we panic, really. I'm there. So now we try and purchase all the serums, and that's not really what we need to do. Rather, have that consultation and then identify at what stage of your aging will which ingredient help you. So really nice pairings are, for example, a nighttime routine would be hyaluronic acid and retinol. So we're going to get that hydration, barrier, repair, and then reconstruction, rebuilding with the vitamin A.
And you can apply the hyaluronic acid first.
And then your retinol on top. But then another example, which is incorporating hydroxy acids on a different night, is you could use glycolic acid and niacinamide. So we know that hydroxy acids, particularly glycolic acid, is a beautifully cell renewing ingredient. So it helps slough off all those dull, dead skin cells, and it leaves our skin texture really smooth and hydrated and plump. And then the niacinamide that you're going to put on top of that is going to help with skin tone and evening the skin. So maybe your aging is not so much fine lines, but it's more the sunspots that you're starting to see, almost that mottled appearance that you would rather try and improve and even out. So those are some really cool nighttime duos. And then these two are really excite me. So in the morning, you could actually pair vitamin C and hyaluronic acid. So your prevention and hydration, plumping of the skin. Or a different combination is vitamin C and niacinamide again. So niacinamide actually has such beautiful properties. Not only does it help with evening out skin tone, but it actually also helps rebuild skin barrier function. So these are the little tips and tricks that we hopefully help guide through our support chat on Dermastore and get the clients really customizing their routine.
And I think the other thing is something to remember is that if you've never used these ingredients before, you can expect your skin to respond in a way that might be unexpected.
Definitely.
So have on the ready your barrier repair cream. Goes back to our philosophy of skin sponding. If your skin feels like it's taking a bit of a strain using these products, it's natural that it's going to have an effect. So, Dr. Webster, what are some of those effects that we see when we introduce a new active ingredient to a skin that might not have used it before?
So we can, often with introducing a retinol, we can get what we call an irritant contact dermatitis, and that's almost to be expected. And that's why we generally start off low and slow. So often when I prescribe a retinoid, I will recommend they start off, say, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays for, say, 2 weeks. And then I say, if you're tolerating it, then you can use it every night. But sometimes people with the more sensitive skin, they might not be able to use it every night. But I say, even if you just use the retinol once or twice a week, it's better than using it not at all.
Definitely.
And also, often when I prescribe a retinol, what's very important, which we forget about, is their cleanser. If I see they've got using a cleanser, slightly foaming cleanser, they might have a history of eczema in the past, then I'll say, okay, we're going to start a retinol. Let's use a hydrating cleanser.
Yeah.
And maybe just once a day, not twice a day. And often that retinoid reaction is aggravated because they're using the wrong cleanser.
Yeah.
And I think it's something...
And it gets the blame.
It gets the blame. The retinol gets the blame.
Gets the bad rap. And I think that's a hugely important point, actually, and we've spoken about this quite a lot, is your number one and most important skincare step is cleansing.
Yeah.
Because that changes everything.
Yeah.
Like if your skin's disrupted and you're using a foaming cleanser, it's game over. It's literally game over. So your cleanser choice actually should be your first decision.
Yeah.
Because it balances your skin and neutralizes your skin. It gets your skin back to that sort of square one, and then you can start building on that. So very good point.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you, do we get your approval on this trend from last year, I think, but skin cycling? So I'm going to tell you what it is, and then you can let me know what you think about it.
You can explain to it. I know about it, but you probably know it in more detail.
So I've been following it, and it actually, A, it helps me just follow a routine, keeps me in line, and B, it really has helped me utilize my active aging ingredients and without getting any adverse reactions. So skin cycling would be one night I would use a hydroxy acid serum. The next night I would use my retinol serum. And then the following 2 nights you're using just a bland barrier repair cream, no actives. And then you go back to hydroxy acid serum, retinol serum, 2 nights barrier. And you continue following that routine. And I really feel like it's helped my skin.
Yeah, I like that idea. And I think this is, again, it's skin sponding. I think there's climatic change. It's winter, summer, maybe hormonal changes in women, stress. There's so many factors. I think you've got to learn to respond to your skin and maybe understand your skin.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of it with a lot of disease like acne and rosacea. It's understanding the condition, understand rosacea, understand the trigger factors.
It's actually quite predictable when you get to know the conditions. You kind of can expect what to happen next. There are the unexpected moments, but a lot of these conditions are quite predictable. So if you know their cycle and you know, then you can sort of adapt to that. So it's ultimate customization for yourself is responding to how your skin is feeling. And that I was just saying before we started, that's kind of how I work my skincare. I don't really have like hard and fast routine. Well, number one, because we're testing so many products all the damn time. So we're always busy with new things, but I've learned to just like stand in the mirror and then really decide what to use that day is based on how my skin is feeling. And it's kind of a finely tuned personal process, but it gives you the freedom and the flexibility. Some nights I'll be like, you know what, my skin's just not feeling like retinol. Okay, I'm going to use. So I think it is about knowing and understanding your
skin and knowing the trigger factors. And if you know you're going on holiday to a humid climate, your things are going to be different. If you're going into the interior of the country where it's dry, you know your skin is going to become dry. So you're going to change it.
Yeah.
You know, and women with hormonal, premenstrually can expect an acne flare, you know. So
I also like the skin cycling trend because we just find it so often that people really do try buy all the actives now that we've mentioned, and they try and incorporate it all in one application, and it's really just not how we should be using our active ingredients. So using it on these specific evenings really helps us apply our products correctly. A guest the other day that came in and said, oh, I'm using my CE Ferulic at night. Well, that's not maybe how you should be using it, you know. So we really need to, it's just keeping it simple and going back to basics and using the right active ingredient at the right time. So,
and I think also the retinoids develop a tolerance to the retinoids. It often takes about 2 or 3 weeks, so you do have to be patient. And I think also you can get this what we call purging. Purging is where, especially more with acne than anti-aging, but you get the blackheads and the whiteheads come to the surface. It's like starting people on isotretinoin. It can get a little bit worse before it gets better. So I think people have just got to be patient. I think maybe they want instant results, and more is not necessarily better. Start off, I think low and slow is also a good analogy. And also, I think each person is different, and you've got to learn to understand your skin and how your skin responds.
I think what I really learned about skin purging recently when we did our SOS article was that, say for example, your skin before you start applying your actives and you have a few blocked pores or you have a little bit of congestion that you didn't really feel because it was very superficial, and now you're introducing an active that has a cellular turnover action, an exfoliating action, that is going to resurface that congestion faster than the natural way it was going to.
It's going to happen anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. So purging really is essentially speeding up the process, which is a good indication because it means your product's working.
Yeah, and don't be deterred by that. No. I think a lot of people get put off by a product, and we often hear it on our support, oh, that made me break out. We actually that's a good thing.
Yes.
You know, we good, keep going.
Push through.
Trust the process, keep going, and then you'll see the results later on.
So Dr. Webster, let's just put it, what is the number one anti-aging skincare ingredient?
I think a retinoid.
I disagree.
Well, maybe if you take it a broader sense, sun avoidance,
there we go.
Sun protection, sunscreen. It's no use using all these things and you're going to lie in the sun.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's sun avoidance, sun protection, wear the hat, seek the shade, and decent sunscreen.
And that's actually, Greg, a big focus for us, you know.
Going into summer, of course.
Yeah.
I also don't think, don't hide away from the sun at every single opportunity. I think the sun, we have sunscreens, we have hats, but live your life as well. You know, live your life. Yeah. You know, life is here to be enjoyed. We're so thankful for sunscreens because it's actually helped us live fuller lives. You can go for that bicycle ride, you can go for that run. Obviously don't do it in midday, but there are ways to be protected. You don't have to hide in a cupboard for the whole of the summer. Enjoy life, get your outdoor activities in early or in the late afternoon, and wear your sunscreen. Enjoy yourself while you're doing it.
Yeah, and the sunscreens, we've always said it, it's something we always speak about, is that the formulations have come so far that now you can go for your run without stinging and burning your eyes. Really exciting, and we are so lucky to be exposed to new formulations all the time with sunscreens as well. So we always get excited to bring you new sunscreens and new formulations.
I think that's all for today's episode. Thanks Dr. Webster and Lara for joining us again, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.
Don't forget to subscribe if you're keen to learn more about what we have to say. We would also really love your thoughts, ideas, and any questions you have for future episodes. You can email us on pod@dermastore.co.za.